This truly is going to be one of my favorite interviews with my cousin Yasmeen. And what a background you have, Yasmeen.
Thank you.
Welcome. So I've been
Thank
looking
you.
forward to this, really looking forward to it. And
Yeah, me too.
our family is very diversified, I would say, very multicultural.
Yes,
What do
very
you-
much so.
What's your, tell me a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. So I was actually born and raised in Switzerland, even though, as you know, part
Yes.
of our family comes from Bangladesh and India, northern India, Bengal,
Yes.
and then my mother is German.
Exactly.
So I am biracial, multicultural. Her mother's side of the family comes from Poland, so it's a little bit all over the place. And then when I was in high school, we moved to the U.S. So I grew up both in Europe and in the U.S., which also makes for a little bit of a confusion and feeling displaced most of the time. I feel like I'm an outsider no matter where I am.
Very similar. And then we also need to add the Kenyan part too.
Oh, yes,
with,
yeah.
with our cousin as well. So you have a book that's coming out. I'm really excited. You are a genius. You are. You went to the London School of Economics. I'm not kidding. So I'm really proud of you, and I'm excited and thrilled to have you share a little bit about your book.
Thank you.
And you're going to read a few excerpts.
Yes, I would love to do that. Thank you so much. And it's just like I am biracial, I also couldn't decide on a career.
Right.
So what I started out my life doing is working in the environmental sustainability field, wanting to help the world, wanting to make an impact, and then halfway through I realized maybe I need to help the humans, because people with emotional wounds, oftentimes have a lot of trouble being able to extend that care and compassion for others and for the world, for other beings in the world. So then I switched careers and entered the self-discovery and trauma recovery and prevention field. And somewhere in there, this book started bubbling up inside of me. And I realized I wanted to tell my story, our family story.
Yes.
But from an angle of, again, that self-reflection and constantly my personal search for belonging. Where do I belong? Who do I belong to? Is it a town? Is it a race? Is it a country? Is it a profession? Which apparently not, because I switched professions now.
I love that. That's good, because we're forever learning and growing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, so I am really, really excited, because after having had this book brewing in me for 15 years, I'm finally in the end stages, and it is ready to be born.
What's the title of the book?
The title of the book is Ancestors of Spirit, Ancestors of Blood, A Tale of Belonging. So for my own personal search of belonging, I decided to look at our ancestors and really look at their stories, and maybe if the information was available, what were they struggling with? And kind of see if my roots might be in their stories, in their struggles, in their challenges, in their successes. And so in the book, I don't want to give away the end, and I don't want to give away too much of it, but ultimately what I realized is my sense of belonging and the significance it has for me in my life, and also why do I need it so badly, right? And then how can I achieve it? So all of that for me ended up being less about where do I live, or where was I born, or what race are my parents, but more about who am I? And what lives inside of me? What are the shadow sides and the light sides? And can I be okay with the darker aspects, with the shadow? Can I embrace them and bring them into the light? Because once I started doing that, that's when I realized, I can actually embrace all of me, the whole me. And with that sense, I realized that maybe it's okay if I belong to myself. If I feel safe and secure with who I am and myself, then I can feel safe to belong to myself. And I don't need the external world to belong to. I can belong to my internal world.
That's lovely, and it's so true, especially in this day and age. I always say the world is shrinking in the sense that we're all connected.
Yeah.
And I truly love the fact that we've been very blessed with our family, because we've come from so many different backgrounds. We're not really like one culture.
Yeah.
So our family get-togethers are always interesting, and I've had great memories with my Aunt Shamim,
Yeah,
you know.
my grandmother.
Yes,
Yeah.
and traveling and going and visiting her when I was very young, you know,
Yeah.
regularly in Switzerland. So
Yeah.
I think that it's really important for people to realize that we all come from the same place and we're all
I
connected.
know.
And, you know, that brings me joy because we've done so many interviews over the years, you know, thousands. And yet, to me, this is really special because of the fact that, you know, you're my family. So I'm really proud to be able to have you share a little bit about your book. You know, you're going to go through a
Yeah,
few things.
thank you. Thank you. And I'm so happy to be here with you.
I know, we're like smiling. We're like,
I know.
But
Very
yeah,
happy.
read it.
Okay. So this is a little excerpt from my book, Ancestors of Spirit, Ancestors of Blood, A Tale of Belonging. And it will be released later on this year, so stay tuned.
Excellent. And we'll have you back then.
Oh yes, please,
Okay.
I would love that. Where do I belong? That is a question I have grappled with for most of my life. My multiracial genes and bicontinental upbringing have left me confused for most of my life, always feeling like an outsider in my own skin. I often leave people feeling exasperated when I try to answer the dreaded question, where are you from? The conversation typically goes something like this. Person. Where are you from? Me. I live in the States. Person. But where are you from? Me. Well, I was born in Switzerland. Person. Puzzled look surveying my brown skin and dark hair. Something is not computing right. But what is your nationality? Me. German. Person. Huh. Puzzled look. Maybe she doesn't speak English well and doesn't know what nationality is. So you're from Germany? Me. Not really. I never lived in Germany or anything. Person. Puzzled look increases tenfold. But originally, where are you from? Me. Let's see. If I go back to my origins, well, then I'd have to say I'm from my mother's womb. Or maybe the ashes of the earth, that would be even before my mother's womb. But then we need to ask, well, where are the ashes from the earth from? You know, originally, don't we? So I guess that means I'm originally from the Big Bang.
I love it because it's the reality that we face.
Yes, it
for
is.
myself, for you, for so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, you mentioned my grandmother Shamim. For this book, I was really digging even deeper into her life story. She recently passed away last year.
Yes.
And, it's a compendium of her stories that she told me over the course of my life, but also asking my dad and his brothers. And so just collecting all these stories. And she was a refugee, as were so many people, as were my parents, actually.
Yes.
And so with what's going on in the world, there are so many refugees. There's so many people who are displaced for whatever number of reasons, and ultimately trying to trace back that "but where do I belong?" question can feel really hopeless and desperate for a lot of people. So
It can, and even for immigrants in general, you know, when you're moving, and if you've traveled based on the fact that it could be an occupation that your parents took on where you moved, you do have that sense of either being displaced or also that kind of need to be constantly moving and traveling and seeing more. You know what I mean? It's like an addiction, right?
It is. That's exactly what happened with me.
Right. So I think it's really wonderful that you're publishing this book because it's meaningful and it brings people together to understand each other better because we all come from different places, but yet we're very, very connected.
Yes, absolutely.
And your story is an important one because it's embracing the uniqueness of every individual. It's not just because someone who's traveled more, but it does allow you to say, let's look at the experiences. You know, I always say I'm in the business of collecting people, not things. Right?
Yeah, I love that. And exactly what you were saying. I mean, someone could feel like an outsider in their very own family for whatever reason, or in their community, in their school. So it's not limited to just a geographic feeling.
True.
Absolutely. And that's partly why I wanted to write this book and publish it and not just, write it and then squirrel it away for my own use. But I'm hoping this will inspire others and it'll give hope and it will give courage to people who might be feeling displaced maybe for similar reasons that I do, or maybe for completely different reasons, but to kind of be able to tell my story and how I have been able to find that nugget of, but where do I belong, or how can I achieve this feeling?
So is there a way for people to, on social media, to connect with you?
Yes, absolutely. So I just launched my website, which was a labor of love, but it took a long time.
Wonderful.
And the name of my website is manapranalife.com. So that is MANAPRANA life, LIFE.com.
Yes.
And mana prana, I chose that word because in Bengali, so the language of my father and his family, mana prana means with heart and soul, wholehearted. And
Prana.
that's what I would like to give the world, a gift to feel wholehearted, to be able to live our lives with heart and soul, to be inspired and to feel whole within ourselves.
Yes, and Bengali is a beautiful language. It truly is a Sanskrit
very
language.
much is.
So I love the title of the book. I love, Mana Prana it's touching and real,
Yes.
and it's a beautiful, beautiful name. And I just want to make sure that when you're ready to get everything published, we want you back on.
I would love that.
I don't know how much time we have left, Karen, our producers. Helping us out with time, because I'm like so happy that you're here with us, and it's kind of like our family is all over the world.
Yes.
We all still keep in touch, right? So I wish you the very best, and I'll have you back. Okay.
Thank you so
Yasmeen?
much, and I'm so excited. Thank you.
Stay well, folks.